Evening, everyone. So, 2 episodes in 1 week of Shaymen Legends. I'm joined by the goal-scoring goalkeeper, Jonathan Hedge. So, to start things off, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. I'm busy. Got
Yeah.
2 kids, so life's busy at the moment, but I'm all good, mate. It's good to see the
Yeah.
Shaymen are doing well at the moment.
Yeah, it's great to see that. Obviously, you're still playing as well, aren't you? Is it Sheffield FC?
I am, mate. Yeah, I'm playing at Sheffield FC with a few lads that I started with at Rotherham United when we were about 16, 17. So still enjoying it at the moment. So 33 now, though, so don't know how long I've got left.
Still a couple of years left, and obviously you've been a goalkeeper as well. I know a lot of goalkeepers. I know it's a bit of a different level, but Buffon's still playing, and he's something like 42, 43. So I'm sure you'll be able to play quite a few more seasons. So,
I hope so, mate. I hope so.
So, could you tell you what it's like? You know, when you first started football growing up, who did you start kicking the ball around with? Were you a goalkeeper back then?
Do you know what? I weren't a goalkeeper until I was about 13, 12, 13 year old. So I used to play football on the street with all my mates from school every night. And I started playing out for a team called Romarsh St. Joseph's, which is a team close to me. And I was a centre back. I was a centre back, and I had some red Puma Kings like Martin Keown wore. I don't know if you remember Martin Keown, do you?
Is he the one who was at Huddersfield not long ago? Was it? No. I don't remember him.
He was at Arsenal. He was a centre back, and he had some red Puma Kings. And I had some red Puma Kings like he did. And I got to about, I think maybe about 10 or 11 years old. And then I couldn't really run, mate, if I'm honest. And they put the fat lad in the net, so I went in the net, and that's how it all started, buddy.
So, what academies did you join then as a young lad?
So I signed for Rotherham United at the age of 14. Had a couple of years there, mate, and then signed a scholarship to do 2 years at Rotherham. So that's where it all started at Rotherham United.
What was it like going up? So for me, on to Halifax now. What was it like going up the football pyramid with the club? Obviously, do you think that benefited you in the long term? Obviously, you went on to play for Cambridge. Do you think starting with Halifax at quite low level and then getting promoted a couple of times got you to where the level where you're playing for higher league clubs? Do you think Halifax benefited your career?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, when I left Rotherham United, I first joined Halifax when Chris Wilder was the manager. And Lee Butler was the goalkeeping coach, and Craig Mawson was the goalkeeper. And they was in the Conference Premier at the time, and they had the players like Adam Quinn and Lewis Killeen and all those players. So it was the old club. So I spent, I think it was a good 18 months at Halifax when I was about 17, 18, 19 years old. So I had a good spell there then. And then obviously one thing what led to another. I ended up going to Harrogate Town, played regularly there, and then rejoined Halifax when Neil Aspin became manager. And it really benefited me, mate, joining Halifax, joining a big club, good support. Everyone could see that it was on the crest of a wave, that we're ready to go. And luckily Neil Aspin formed a team, including myself, that took Halifax up a couple of leagues. And that got myself and others recognition. And maybe if I weren't at Halifax, I might not have gone on to do what I did in playing for England C and things like that. So it's a big club at that level, mate, and some very good support. So it benefited me hugely being at the club,
Talking about England C, what was it like playing for England C? Because it's not really something that I've really heard too much about, if I'm totally honest. I've heard of it, but what was it like playing for England C?
It were unbelievable. It were brilliant. I mean, we played in a number of different countries. I went to Russia, played against Italy, went to Gibraltar, played against Portugal, things like that. And you got treated like, I presume, like the England senior team get treated. I can remember we had a game for Halifax at Skelmersdale one, I think it was in November. And
was that a 2-2 game where I think you had a really good game, or is that a separate game?
Did you say 2-2?
Yeah, it was 2-2, and I think and you had a really good game as well.
That's the one. You've got a good memory, mate.
To be honest, I don't remember. I heard it in the Twitter comments. Positive Shaymen, who runs another account, told me about that game.
Brilliant. So obviously we played at Skelmersdale, and the FA sent a car to pick me up, and they sent a massive black car with tinted windows, and they had all food and drink in there, and all like, wow. can't believe this. And we were just playing the Evo stick at the time. So for me, it was a really good experience. We got looked after really well. And we got spoilt really, and we got treated like stars. It were a really good experience. It were really good. And I'm sure anyone that's played for England will tell you exactly the same, mate.
Are they still doing England? I don't know. I'm sure I heard that they got rid of England C nowadays.
Yeah, it might have stopped, mate. To be fair, I think the FA might have pulled a lot of the funding for it, which is a shame. But I'm not 100% sure. I've not seen it advertised anywhere, or them having any games recently. Maybe that's due to COVID. I'm not sure, mate. I'm not too sure.
I think it's good for players in it that are quite low level to make them like sort of think. Imagine if I got to the Premier League. Obviously, a lot of players have done nowadays. Obviously, you've got the likes of Vardy, Gregory, all these sort of players that have made it. I don't know if they played for England C, but if they did, I'm sure that benefited them to get to the level that they are nowadays. But if we move on, so obviously back-to-back promotions with the club. But what was it like playing with the group of lads, especially because it was mostly joy during your time with Halifax? Like, there weren't many negatives, obviously, at your time at Halifax.
There weren't many negatives, mate. You're right. A lot positive. We won a lot of games. But obviously, when Ash took charge, he brought a lot of good lads into the dressing room that were good players, but also good people off the pitch. And we formed a real strong bond in the dressing room. And I think that showed on the pitch as well, mate. He took a lot of lads from Harrogate with him, including myself, and brought other lads into the squad as well. And we gelled straight away. And the dressing room were absolutely fantastic. Probably one of the best, if not the best, dressing room that I've been in football.
Yeah. Some great players though into there. There's Vardy, Gregory, all these sorts of players. But what was it like for you playing with them sorts of players?
Really good for myself. Obviously, anyone will tell you the same to play with Vardy. We knew it was something special. He's obviously gone on to a lot bigger and better things now. Fully deserved. Same Lee Gregory. Gone on to play in the Football League, still playing in the Football League. And obviously, they get all the recognition because they're the ones that are scoring the goals.
But the defence.
And the defence, there's some very good players in that team, mate. Obviously, Lee Gregory was young when he came from Mansfield. Vardy was mid-20s when he joined from Stocksbridge. And not only good players, mate, but they were really good people off the pitch as well. And I travelled in with those two, so it were good fun.
Did you feel comfortable with like them two in front of you, two centre halves in front of you that were quite confident? I think they made your job a lot easier.
They did, mate. They certainly did. Obviously, the first year we had Steve Payne. He was brilliant centre half. And then obviously the second year we moved into like Mark Bauer, Liam Hogan, people like that. And we just kept improving, mate. And they're really good players who know the level. So for me, I went into every game confident that we could keep a clean sheet and knew that we were going to win the game with the forward players that we got. So it was really good, mate. Really good.
What was your opinion of, like, from your perspective, what was it like being undefeated at home I think it was the 2010 season when you won the league? Undefeated at home, that's at quite a low level. That's actually quite a lot harder than the higher level. What was it like being undefeated at home for you?
It was really good, mate. I think, to be honest, I think every home game we expected to win. We knew we were good enough. The Shay, obviously, is a very good pitch. We could get the ball down and play. It was a big pitch, and we could exploit teams with what we got in our team. So for us to go a full season unbeaten at home was fantastic. And I think in that first season, I think we only lost maybe 2 games, 2 or 3 games. So all in all, it were really positive, and it were a good season, really good season.
Did you feel, because obviously other clubs, obviously Halifax were reformed, and when before the club started, we had a really good fan base, and then being so low down, we still were getting really good attendances. I think having the attendances behind you, where you're having really good fans, shouting the hearts off and everything, do you think that really helps you when you're at home? And then even travelling away, you're taking quite a lot away for that level. I think that's what made teams come and be quite fearful of, obviously, the quality in the Halifax team, but obviously the fans behind them.
Yeah, obviously everyone that came to the Shade knew that there'd be 1,500 plus there every home game, so they knew that they're in for a tough game. And for us as home players as well, it were great to have the fans back in. They were very vocal. They were positive with us, always encouraging us. And to be fair, some games they helped. They were the 12th man. I know it's no cliche, but they really helped us over the line a few games and get us results. And then when we came to play away games and things like that, we'd be taking 500-600 to away games. It felt like a home game. So every game was like a home game with the support, and it was absolutely unbelievable, mate. It were really good. Probably the best fans that I've played in front of, certainly.
Obviously, it was all northern as well, which helps out. Like, because you are going to take quite a lot away from home. What would you say your relationship with the fans were like?
I'd like to think I had a really good relationship with them, mate.
Yeah.
Obviously, I still speak to a few of them now.
Yeah.
Look out for the results. I think they took to me when I first joined under Chris Wilder. I got to know a few of them then. Then obviously when I went back, obviously created a few more bonds as well. So I'd like to think there's a really strong bond there between me and the fans. I think a lot about them. And I know that from people that I've spoken to think a lot about me as well, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And that really helps, mate. It helped me settle in on the second time I joined. And then obviously after that, we went on to have a lot of success, and we shared some good times together, and times that will never be forgotten by Halifax Town fans. So for me, mate, it's all positive. It's really good.
Since you were there, we've had like we had Matty Glennon, we've had Sam Johnson, and then we've had you, Jonathan Hedge. They're 3 really good keepers, and that's something that we haven't really had to worry about for quite a couple of years, having a poor keeper, because we've got a keeper that doesn't make too many mistakes, and obviously winning every week at that stage are really good as well. And if the 2.5s are good, it's even better. Obviously, being a keeper, it's all about clean sheets. But during a match versus Micklesworth Sport, you were put up front for Halifax, and I heard you did actually score for the Shaymen. Now, before you go in to talk about this, I can actually put this on your screen now, the goal.
Yeah.
It was from Shaymen Stats.
Nice. Let's have a little look then. Hey, it's a good finish, that, isn't it?
Yeah. And then that was celebration.
Even better celebration, mate. It's I remember that fondly, mate. I got put on by Asp. I think it was Dino that might have come off injured.
Yeah.
And he said, who fancies going up front? And we didn't really want to win the game.
Yeah.
And Asp weren't taking it very seriously. And he said, I need to put someone up front. And I put my hand up because Phil Senior were playing in goal. And he took me on. I ended up playing about 60 minutes up front. I couldn't breathe by the end of the game, mate, but I managed to get on the score sheet.
Well, really, pretty good finish. That obviously quite a brave finish as well. Obviously, it's not senior or anything like that, but from a goalkeeper going up in that position, and like you say, I mean, it were really good that obviously being able to have them sort of games where Neil Aspin can put the goalkeeper up front. And saying that, something a little different now. Phil Senior is actually my PE teacher at my school.
Is it? Right.
Yeah, he's a goalkeeper, ex-goalkeeper for Halifax. He's actually a PE teacher at my school. But finally, before we move on to some like quick fire questions and then the fans' questions, I went to the James Dean Memorial match. And it was a man of the match performance about you, and it was an absolutely brilliant day. But what was your opinion of the day?
I thought it was really positive, mate. It was really good, and I think it showed what a lot of people thought about Dino. Obviously, he gave great service to FC Halifax, and he gave great service to Chorley as well. Obviously, he's got 2 young sons and a really good family. When we were playing at the Shay, I can remember Dino bringing his young lad to the games along with his dad to watch him. And then, obviously, unfortunately, tragic circumstances what happened. But I think the day was really good. I think it showed a lot of people, or certainly his family, how highly thought of he was. And to see the Halifax fans turn out for him, mate, and also to see so many ex-Halifax lads turn up and play and also be there. Like Lee Gregory were there, but he couldn't play for obvious reasons. It spoke volumes for the team spirit that we created about 10 years ago, mate. So all in all, it was a really sad time, but a really positive day that had a massive impact on his family and raised lots of money for his children. So it was really good.
It's great to turn like a negative into a positive like that, and obviously raising lots of money for the family as well. You did actually play pretty well in this game, and I think Dino would be proud of that game. I remember, obviously, it's not the best score. I think we lost 4-0, but it's not about the score. But you made a lot of brilliant saves in that game, if I remember rightly. On to some quick fire questions now. These are just 10 questions that you've got to try and answer as fast as you can.
Go on then.
What song gets you buzzed up for a match before the game?
What song? I'll tell you what, 2 songs, right? Brian Adams, Summer of '69. Don't know if you've heard of it.
I think if I heard the song, I'd know it, but
you might have heard of it. And then the second one would be Gina G, who are just a little bit. So
Oh
they're,
yeah.
they're the two. They're the two, mate. So if you haven't heard them, YouTube them after and you'll like them, I'll tell you.
When I play football for my team, I always like Seven Nation Army. Before it gets me buzzed up for a game. Best mate at Halifax.
Best mate at Halifax. You know what? That's a tough one. I'd have to say the lads that I travelled in with, I created a really good bond with. So Lee Gregory, who I still speak to now, I class him as a really good friend. Vardy, Danny Holland, that were the other two that I travelled in with. So I'd have to say those, mate. But to be honest, I won't really say I've got a best friend in that club. I would have said that we were all much of a muchness and we're all friends in an equal right, mate. Such as the bond that we created. So that's that, yeah.
That's probably made the team such a good team because everyone were mates with each other. Anyway, pre-match meal.
Oh, what now or back then?
Well, we'll do both then.
So my pre-match meal, mate, would be 2 slices of toast, all right, some scrambled egg and some beans. So that's all I'd have now. That's all I normally have, and I've stuck to it for a long time.
Carry on.
No, just a little bit different to some other lads who had burger and chips and stuff, but they could get away with it, so I can't.
Well, a goalkeeper might be able to get away with it. Obviously, you still have to be quite fit to be a goalkeeper, but you don't have to be running around as much. So if I was a goalkeeper, I'd be having burger and chips. But obviously, I play on a Sunday morning, so I'm not good enough to play in the academy. So I play on a Sunday morning.
Good lad.
I'd have a breakfast because I don't. Sometimes I don't even have a breakfast going into a game because I don't want to be on a full stomach. But anyway,
is that nerve? Are you nervous? Or,
I get nervous. I play central midfield, so I do get a bit nervous, and I am quite small for a 14-year-old, so that doesn't help anyway. But best save you've ever made? Can you remember any saves you've made?
Best save I've ever made. Good. That's putting me right on the spot, young man. Right on the spot. I made a save for I made a save for Tamworth away at Cambridge United.
Yeah.
It was a point blank header from about 4 yards out, and I did the old Schmeichel starfish.
Yeah.
And it luckily hit my left hand and it stayed out, and we ended up winning the game 1-0. That's the one that sticks out. Is there any others? There probably is, mate. I can remember saving a penalty at home for Halifax against North Ferriby. To my left-hand side, I would say that's up there as well. So, yeah, those two off the top of my head.
What football team do you support?
Oh, do you know what? I'd have been really proud to tell you this 2 years ago, but we've gone on a bit of a decline, mate, last 12 months. So, no, I don't support Liverpool, mate. No, I support Sheffield United.
Sheffield United?
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago. They did really well, obviously, under Chris Wilder as well, who used to play for as well. Yeah, obviously they lost to Huddersfield, and I don't like to see Huddersfield win because kids at my school don't really like Halifax that much. So I'm a bit disappointed that Sheffield lost that, but I do have quite a lot of respect for that team. What's your football ideal?
What's my football what, sorry?
Idol.
Who's my football idol? So when I was growing up, mate, Peter Schmeichel would be the one that you know. There was a goalkeeper called Alan Kelly who played for Sheffield United in the 90s. So he'd be another one. So those two, mate, but mainly Peter Schmeichel.
What was your job when play? What was your full-time job when you were playing for Halifax?
So when I was at Halifax, I was a community sports coach for Rotherham Metropolitan Borough Council. So basically, we go into primary schools and deliver sports coaching sessions to the kids. But that's what I was doing when I was at Halifax first time round, mate. No, second time round under Aspen. Yeah.
So what about first time round then?
First time round, we were full time at Halifax, so we were training through the day. But then I obviously had a part time work at Next at Meadowhall. So I was working with my mates at Next on an evening. So two different things.
Two totally different things. And what are you up to now, finally?
What am I up to now? So I'm currently in the police. So I've been in the police nearly 5 years. Although I'll be leaving that shortly. I've got a new job starting at Sheffield Hallam University. So I'll start that in probably about a month's time. And then I run my own goalkeeper coaching business. So that's called Save All Shots Goalkeeper Coaching. So I do that as well. So they're the main two jobs. Then I play for Sheffield FC, buddy.
3 totally different jobs then. Working in a shop, then obviously being full-time for Halifax at one point, and then obviously also being in the police and then being a community sports coach. I think that, Honor, best player you've ever faced against?
Best player I've ever played against?
Yeah.
Good question. We played, when I was at Telford, we played against Blackburn, and they had Josh King up front with a lad called Ruben Roshina in midfield. Who else have I played against? Played against Vardy when he was at Stockbridge before we signed him. That's putting me right on the spot, mate. So off top of my head, they'd be the ones, I think.
Any regrets at Halifax?
Any regrets? Great question. Looking back, I would have liked to have stayed. Obviously, I left to sign for Tamworth. That was for one or two reasons. Neil Aspin said that they were bringing a new goalkeeper in, so I decided to leave. And I got the opportunity to go and play in the Conference Premier every week with Tamworth. I don't regret leaving, because I think it was the right decision at the right time, but I regret the fact that I didn't have longer there the second time around. I only had a couple of years, and I would like to have stayed there for 3 or 4 or 5 years.
2 years, was it? 2009 to 11, I think.
It were, mate, yeah. And then obviously I think they got promoted in 2013-14 to the Conference Premier. So that would be one. And then the other one would be when I returned to the Shaymen, I played for Telford, we got beat 5-1. A regret would be letting in 5 goals, mate. So I wanted a clean sheet.
What did the Halifax fans think of that game?
Gave me a good reception, to be fair. They were really good. Yeah, they were chanting my name and things like that. So it were really good, buddy. Really good.
I think that's it for quick-fire questions now. So we'll move on to some of the fans' questions now. This is any saves you remember playing for Halifax, particular saves?
Any saves I remember making? Obviously the one at the Shay, the penalty against North Ferriby. To my left-hand side. Do you know what? In that second time around, I know it sounds daft, but I didn't have many saves to make because we were steamrolling teams. We were beating teams quite comfortably. So I think saving a penalty at the Shay would be the one. And if I think of any others, I'll let you know.
Could you take advantage in that match where you could just literally sit down and just watch the match from your goal? Or would you reckon you still had to be ready
to be fair, mate, there were some games that I could have got a deck chair out and had a cocktail and watched the game like you guys. I didn't have much to do. But then there were other games where that were quite tough. And I had quite a bit to do to get as a result. So, but more often than not, I could have had a cocktail on a beach chair.
Second time around, did you ever want to go into full-time football with Halifax?
Yeah, when I joined Halifax, obviously it were a club that were going to move through the leagues, and I wanted to be a part of that. Hence why I came. That's why I joined. And I envisaged myself staying at Halifax for 5, 6, 7 years until they got back to the Conference Premier where they were before under Chris Wilder. And that was the plan when I first signed, mate. I wanted to be there as long as I could. And then obviously things didn't. We were successful after 2 years, and then in that summer, the club said they were bringing a new goalkeeper. I could stay and fight for my place, or I had the opportunity to go and play full-time football at Tamworth. And like yourself, I think if you ask any young kid, they all want to play full-time football, don't they? They all want to be in that full-time environment, doing it every day, and it was an opportunity that I couldn't turn down, buddy. So I took it. Yeah.
Is it easy? Because a lot of people say it's your dream job, isn't it, to play full-time football? Is it as easy as it sounds, obviously, playing full-time football than a usual job?
Is it what, sorry?
Is it as easy as because some people think it's quite easy where compared to a usual job. What's it like? Is it more of an enjoyable job, or do you think it's just a little different?
I think if you enjoy what you do, then
Yeah.
it don't feel like you're working. So I think if you're
Yeah.
playing football every day,
Mhm.
and you love football, then I think it's the dream job for anybody. But on the flip side of it, it's quite a cutthroat industry.
Yeah.
So if you go and you make a move and then the club decide they don't want you,
Yeah.
you might be without the club in a few months or a few weeks. So it's very cutthroat in that respect, mate.
Yeah.
But if you love football like yourself and myself, then doing it every day, it's a dream, isn't it?
Does the pressure ever get to you, obviously, in training, let's say? Obviously, I don't think you've had too much of that where you've had to think about like fighting relegation and it's not looking good for the club. Does the pressure ever get to you when that happens during training?
In training, it's more of a relaxed atmosphere. You get to
Yeah.
work on things that you want to do on a Saturday.
Yeah.
But then obviously when the match day comes, and if results aren't going your way,
Yeah.
and your fans expect and your manager expects that you should be doing better, then you do feel a little bit of pressure. But some players thrive under pressure and perform, and other players they crumble under pressure. And if you thrive under it, that's where you come out the other side and you turn a negative into a positive.
We've got another one from a fan now. Which season did you prefer? The 2009 to 10 season or the 2010 to 11 season?
Great question. Great question. Do you know what? I'm going to say the first season.
Yeah.
And that's based on one fact because we were neck and neck with Lancaster at the top of the league going into the last few games. And the standout memory for me when I was at Halifax was we played Garforth away on I think it was a Thursday night or Tuesday or a Thursday night, and we were 3-1 down in the last minute of the game, and we knew that if we lost the game, then Lancaster would possibly win the league in front of us. And we managed to turn it around and we ended up winning the game 4-3. So for that reason and that moment on that pitch, which is my favourite moment of all time, I would have to say the first season was more special than the second one.
Yeah. Brilliant game, that when you think of it, like being 3-1 down and then coming back. It's a bit of a Liverpool or Tottenham sort of thing when they were in the Champions League that season. Now, the final question now is from Rob Brown. He asks this every single person that comes on. So there's been 8 people that have come on, and I don't want to put you under any pressure, but every single person's got it right so far.
Go on then.
Can you name all the clubs you've played for in order?
All the clubs that I've played for?
Yeah, in order.
In order.
I'll get it up now.
Right. Started out at Rotherham United.
Yeah.
Joined Halifax.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that right?
I'll just have a quick look. Carry on and then I'll check it.
So I've gone Rotherham, then to Halifax. I played in Australia for a little bit before I came back and joined Harrogate Town. So I joined Harrogate. Then I came to Halifax. And then from Halifax, I signed for Tamworth.
Yeah.
And then from Tamworth, I signed for Cambridge. From Cambridge, I signed for Grimsby.
No, Southport.
Oh, good shout. Yeah, I had a loan at Southport.
Oh, no, it was a loan. Yeah, it was a loan.
It was a loan. I played on loan at Southport. Then I joined Grimsby.
And we went back to Cambridge and then joined Grimsby, so yeah.
Then I signed for Telford.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure. Who did I sign for after Telford? Did I go to
Gainsborough?
That's right, mate. You're right. Gainsborough and then Sheffield FC. Is that right?
Yeah. So you didn't pass. I'll let Rob Brown know. I don't think he'll be too impressed, but who cares? That's more or less it. Huge thank you for coming on and good luck with Sheffield FC. I hope they do well this season.
Thanks very much, mate. And
no
great to talk to you.
Thank you.
All right, pal. You take care.